Hello, and welcome to this episode of In Discussion With from PharmacyUpdateOnline. Today, I'm talking to Mr. John Armitstead about providing pharmacy services in the aftermath of a hurricane. Could you start by introducing yourself?
Well, it's a pleasure to be with you today. I am John Armitstead, System Director of Pharmacy at Lee Health here in Fort Myers, Florida. We also cover Cape Coral as well as Estero, Florida, but we're based in Fort Myers, Florida.
And could you give us a brief overview of your role?
As the System Director of Pharmacy at Lee Health, I'm responsible for 400 pharmacy employees in 15 different sites, 5 of which are hospitals, and then there's a micro-hospital, home infusion. I've got a mail-order pharmacy. I've got a infusion site pharmacy as well, and providing care delivery to the citizens of Lee County, Florida.
Now, on September the 28th, 2022, Hurricane Ian made landfall at Fort Myers, and I want to talk about the pharmacy services that were provided in the emergency situation after that. But first, could you remind us where Fort Myers is, please?
Fort Myers, Florida, is on the southwest portion of the Florida Peninsula. So we are to the south would be the Straits of Florida and the country of Cuba. And to the west of us would be the Gulf of Mexico. An interesting fact is that we are closer to the capital of Cuba in Havana than we are our own state capital in Tallahassee, Florida. So we are pretty far south in Florida, and particularly we're on the southwest side, on the Gulf of Mexico side of Florida.
Now, what happened on September the 28th, and how did that fit with the hurricane season?
Well, on that day in September, we saw landfall from Hurricane Ian. But interestingly enough, we've got to make preparations well before landfall to be able to prepare for a hurricane. In fact, our hurricane season in this area of the world, and particularly in Florida, starts from June 1st to November 1st. So to the optimist, you might call that a rainy season. To a pessimist, you might call it hurricane season. But basically, June 1st till November 1st is the season in which we are very vulnerable to hurricanes. And in fact, this one hit right in the middle of the hurricane season in that it came at the end of September.
Could you tell us a bit more about what happened on that day and how you made preparations for the hurricane?
It's interesting that you ask about what happened on that day, but actually preparations start even prior to hurricane season each and every year in regards to the pharmacy. As a matter of fact, we established a hurricane pack or a wish list of pharmaceuticals that we might need prior to a hurricane from our wholesaler, and we established that list. We actually don't order the list in before June, but we established what that preset order would be to get us through a hurricane period if one does in fact come. So we start preparations for a hurricane each year in about April or May, and we look at the list of drugs that we might want to special order in the event that a hurricane is going to hit. We established that list prior to hurricane season. Now, we don't order it then, but we watch the tropics, and most of the hurricanes in this area of the country, actually, they begin by spinning off the western portion of Africa. So I can tell you that our weather reports, we watch for the possibility of hurricanes all season during that time period. And then if one is starting to approach and looks like it will make landfall in Florida, we would order the hurricane pack prior to the hurricane arriving. So that usually comes in pallets of drug supplies that would get us at least through 72 to 96 hours post-hurricane, and when having adequate supplies of pharmaceuticals.
So that deals with the medicines. What about all the other things that needed to be in place to keep the system working?
The next aspect is that we have list of employees. Every employee at Lee Health is either in Team A or in Team B. Team A employees are physically present in the hospital during the hurricane. And so that means Team A people need to be called in to say they were activating Team A, and they would come in and usually spend anywhere from 24 to 48 to maybe 72 hours in the hospital, and even sleeping in the hospital during that time frame. Employees in Team B come in after the roads are cleared or after the hurricane has passed, and it is safe to come to the hospital, but Team B comes in, replaces Team A after the hurricane.